Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a story of justice. Or rather, the profound lack thereof. We're talking about the trial of Jesus Christ. Buckle up, because this isn't just a history lesson, it's a crash course in legal what-the-heckery. Was Jesus' trial, legit? Spoiler alert, absolutely not. Over the next 10 chapters, we're exposing the egregious legal violations that riddled this trial. From illegal arrests to shifting charges, get ready to question everything you thought you knew. Let's rewind to the arrest. Picture this. It's nighttime, and a group armed with swords and clubs swoops in to seize Jesus. Who are these shadowy figures? Priests, elders, the very people who would soon be judging him. Talk about a conflict of interest. Adding insult to injury, they relied on the testimony of Judas, an accomplice who, according to Jewish law, shouldn't have even been allowed to testify, let alone be the linchpin of the arrest. This arrest wasn't just legally dubious, it reeked of a setup. It's like trying to rig a game of Go Fish by stacking the deck and then also getting to choose your opponent's cards. It just ain't right. Okay, so the arrest was bad, but surely it gets better from here, right? Wrong. The first order of business was a clandestine meeting with Annas, the former high priest. This little get-together was illegal for a couple of reasons. First, Jewish law strictly prohibited court sessions before the morning sacrifice. It was like trying to order a pizza before the restaurant even opened. The second reason? Nighttime meetings for legal proceedings were a big no-no, designed to ensure justice was visible, not shrouded in darkness. So, we've got a shady nighttime arrest, followed by a clandestine meeting with a former high priest. And if you think it can't get any worse, well, hold my grape juice. The Sanhedrin, the highest court in the land, then holds a trial before the sun even thought about rising. This, my friends, was another blatant violation of Jewish law. It was like trying to cram for a history exam on the Roman Empire in the 5 minutes before the bell rings. Criminal cases, especially one of this magnitude, could only be addressed during daylight hours. This rule existed for a reason, to ensure fairness and transparency. But in Jesus' case, it was tossed out faster than a stale loaf of bread. Chapter 4. A Holy Day's Dilemma. As if the timing wasn't bad enough, the trial was scheduled for the day before an annual Sabbath. This was like scheduling a root canal appointment on your birthday. No one in their right mind would do that. Jewish law explicitly forbade court sessions on Sabbaths or holy days. They couldn't even begin a trial for a capital offense the day before. This was to prevent rushed judgments and ensure a fair trial. But hey, who needs fairness when you're trying to railroad someone, right? Chapter 5. Justice on Fast Forward. Hold on to your hats, folks, because it's about to get even more absurd. The entirety of Jesus' trial, from the arrest to the verdict, was wrapped up in less than a day. Let me repeat that, less than a day. This was a blatant violation of Jewish law, which stated that while an acquittal could be issued on the same day, a death sentence required a second day. This wasn't some arbitrary rule. It was designed to give time for witnesses to come forward and for the court to actually deliberate. Chapter 6. False indictments. Now let's talk about the charges against Jesus. The indictments were either demonstrably false or completely unproven. Think about that for a second. They couldn't even get their story straight. But here's the kicker. The testimony of the false witnesses wasn't even used to sentence Jesus. Instead, they condemned him based on his own testimony, which, by the way, wasn't even blasphemous according to Jewish law. It's like being accused of stealing a cookie and then being found guilty because you admitted to liking cookies. The whole thing was a farce. Now, for the grand finale of this legal circus act, the condemnation. The Sanhedrin, in their infinite wisdom, decided to condemn Jesus unanimously and instantaneously. You'd think that, in a just system, this would be a slam-dunk acquittal. Not so fast. Jewish law actually required at least one dissenting opinion in a capital case. Why? To prevent groupthink and ensure at least one person was looking out for the accused. But in Jesus' case, the deck was so stacked against him that even this safeguard was ignored. Let's not forget about the location of this trial. Instead of the designated court building, the Sanhedrin decided to hold court in the high priest's house. This wasn't just a breach of protocol, it was a clear violation of Jewish law, which stipulated that a death sentence could only be issued in the official court. This rule was meant to emphasize the severity of a capital case and ensure it was conducted with the utmost seriousness and in accordance with the law. Let's talk judges for a moment, shall we? Many members of the Sanhedrin were legally barred from trying Jesus. Some had been appointed through shady dealings, while others were openly hostile towards Jesus. Jewish law was crystal clear on this point. Anyone with a personal vendetta against the accused couldn't serve as a judge. It's like having your arch-nemesis be the referee in a game you're playing, not exactly a recipe for fairness. And for the final nail in the coffin of justice, we have the blatant switching of charges. The Sanhedrin tried Jesus for blasphemy, but when they went to Pilate, they accused him of treason against Rome. This bait and switch was a calculated maneuver. Blasphemy wasn't a capital offense under Roman law, but treason? That was a one-way ticket to a very unpleasant end. So there you have it. 10 reasons why Jesus' trial was about as far from a fair legal proceeding as you can get. It was a sham, a mockery of justice, orchestrated by those in power who felt threatened by Jesus' message. This wasn't just an isolated incident of legal malpractice. It was a blatant abuse of power designed to silence a man who dared to challenge the status quo. Thanks for sticking with us on this journey through legal history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more deep dives into history, law, and the occasional existential crisis.